Welcome back. Well, the holidays are a joyous time. There's baking, decorating, and of course, spending time with your friends and families. But it can also be a time where some unwelcome pests can show up. This morning, we're joined by Ray Hess, who is with Exterminators. He's here to give us some tips so we can avoid those pests coming into our home. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Amanda. Appreciate it.
So, a couple of things. Let's start with baking. You know, there are lots of people that are baking this time of year, whether you've got holiday parties or maybe you're baking for your kids' holiday parties. But what can we do to try to avoid some pests in our kitchen?
One of the biggest things is obviously to make sure you clean it up, not only as you do the cooking and baking. Around the holidays when we have our gatherings, a lot of our foods tend to leave the kitchen.
Yeah.
They may get into the living room and other places. The kids tend to drift off with the cookies and all that kind of stuff. And if we don't keep an eye on that and make sure we clean up, ants, mice, those type of pests will, of course, take advantage of it. And sure. If, once they move in, especially this time of year, like ants will set up their pheromone trails. And once they do that, then they're there to stay until they are gotten rid of or, hopefully their food supply runs out.
So if you are baking, definitely make sure you're wiping up after yourself, cleaning up all of the ingredients that you're using.
Yep. When you're baking for many, many people and you're cooking for a lot of folks, we tend to be a little messier. That tends to go in places that maybe it normally wouldn't. So we need to expand on our cleaning, maybe the splashboard behind the sink and those type of areas where the ants will come up from behind the cabinets and we never see them. And like I said, once they get a toe in your door, they're there for a long time.
That's right. And also, people like to decorate their homes this time of year. If you celebrate Christmas, you might have a Christmas tree in your home or a wreath. But those can also bring in some pests as well, right?
Very much so. A lot of times we store our stuff for throughout the year, and then we bring it out in the winter, of course, and we store them up in the attic, in a basement, or in a shed. And obviously those type of places, you might have black widow spiders, you could have silverfish, or of course rodents. So if you don't check those items and you bring them into the home, you're bringing those pests into the home. Especially if you go, like out into the woods and you make yourself a wreath or you cut down a tree. You might bring in things like ticks and other things into the home. So it's very important to check them really well. A good LED flashlight will, of course, help you to see anything in there. A little shaking, all that kind of stuff will help to make sure that you don't bring in things you don't want in your home.
Okay. And then also, firewood can also be a place for pests to hang out as well?
Oh, very much. A lot of folks, unfortunately, they store their firewood close to the door to their home, because they don't want to go out into the cold to get it. Well, when you have it close to the door, that means the pests that are in the firewood, such as spiders, mice, roaches, the big American and smoky brown roaches that are very, very common in this area, they love that stuff. So you go out and grab a couple of pieces of wood, you throw it next to your fireplace, it gets warm, and they come out thinking, hey, thanks, appreciate being here. So.
Well, it's all very good advice, Ray. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be back in a couple of moments. We'll have this all up later on our website at 41nbc.com. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Not a problem.
All really good advice. I wish I could.